I'm ready. I've got a song for you. The first song's going to be a song that you like. So
Ooh! I was going to ask you if you're going to play that one.
I'm going to play that one.
Yes! It gets stuck in my head all the time.
Does it?
It does. Anytime I hear a word that's in the title, like if I hear the word big, or if I hear Texas, or someone say bigger than, any of those things, that is what I think of.
Oh, that's great.
Hey, there's people watching. I'm here with Jordi, Baizan.
Yes, you got it perfectly.
Hi, Claudia. And so, usually I start this very professionally and present the show like we are now going to begin.
Hey, Claudia.
Hi, Chris. But we've got a very unique challenge this evening, Jordi and I, and any of you watching. My niece has just texted me 5 gingerbread houses that her family has made. And they would like us to select, well, they wanted me to select a winner. I can't handle that kind of pressure, so I'm giving it all to everybody else.
We're here for you. We're here for you.
So the first step of this challenge is, could I figure out how to text myself the pictures? And, okay.
Hey, Gary. Gary Martin is here with us.
You know everybody. You know Gary?
I do. I know him from
Gary.
Kerrville. Yeah.
So, was it Lisa last week? Gary, help me. Who was the other artist I had on that you... Katie Dahl.
Oh, yeah, Katie.
So Gary was my college math professor.
Oh, my gosh. That's so cool.
Yes. And then I went to a house concert at his house. He had Anais Mitchell. Hi, Audra. Okay. So here we are. I'm here with Jordi, and I've been wanting to sing with you since we met at Swerfa.
I think that's right. I think that's where we met. That's what I remember.
And so here's I mentioned earlier to you that my husband's really socially awkward. So am I, and like really shy. And I was you go into a situation like that where you don't know anybody else, and it seems like everybody else knows each other. And it was really intimidating. And you were one of the first people. Like I had heard you play. And I thought, wow, he's really great, and he seems really cool. And then you came to one of my showcases, and I was like floored that you came, you stayed, and you like moved to the music, and you made my whole night.
Oh, that is so sweet. I did not know that.
And now you do.
You just presented that to me. That's great. Well, I'm really glad.
And then you played this song that has been forever stuck in my head, and I was hoping you'd play it tonight. So is that what you're starting with?
I'd be happy to play it. Whenever
Okay.
you're ready.
Can you tell us a little bit about it?
About the song? Sure. So this is the title track of the record that I released in 2019, about the middle of the year. I can't believe it's been a year and a half. And it's inspired, I grew up in the city, but I fell in love with the desert in 7th grade. I went out there on a field trip in a couple of big buses with our whole class. And I was just inspired by the vastness of the desert. We went out to Big Bend, and
Where's that?
Big Bend. Oh, sorry, Big Bend is where the Bend is in Texas on the far west. There's a little bend in the Rio Grande, and there's a beautiful national park there that many people don't know about. And we went out there, and I fell in love with the vastness of the desert, and it started a love affair. I took several trips out in the desert during different parts of my life, and even spent some time in New Mexico. And finally, recently went out there with a buddy of mine, Terry Klein, who you might know. Do you know Terry? Yeah. We played some shows out there and just met a lot of people that, like me, grew up in the city, but had made the big leap to live out kind of off the grid, a different type of life than what I was living. And it just inspired me, and I wrote this song called Desert Line. This is for Grace. Sick and tired in Houston, run down from the stress. Valerie and Brian decided to move west. They bought a beat-up Airstream trailer, a real fixer-upper. They pulled into Terlingua, just in time for supper. Now they're free and fine on that desert line, but they'll be hard to find, 'cause nothing's bigger than Texas. An hour off the highway, 20 miles from town, like the yucca plant, they set their roots in the unforgiving ground. No neighbors to contend with, and no mosquitoes too. And when it rains, I swear it smells just like God's perfume. Now they're free and fine on that desert line, but they'll be hard to find, 'cause nothing's bigger than Texas. You'd see them at the general store, they'd greet you with a smile. Their overflowing shopping cart would last them for a while. Hey. Well, the years passed by, word got out to family and friends. One by one, more airstreams headed toward Big Bend to get back to the land where the cost of living's low, where it's peaceful and it's easy, and the sunsets don't get old. Now they're free and fine on that desert line, but they'll be hard to find, 'cause nothing's bigger than Texas. Nothing's bigger than Texas, y'all. Welcome, everybody. It's so great to have you here tonight. Grace and I are really grateful for your presence. Happy holidays, everyone.
I love that song so
I love
much.
that you love it.
I started like inadvertently singing harmonies and then went, oh shit, did I mute my mic? Because I was just rocking out. And I think in my dream, Jordi, you and I will play that together live, and I will accompany you either on the piano or the accordion.
Oh, that'd be amazing.
Have you had accordion on that song?
I haven't had it on that song, but I bet it would really be nice. Yeah.
I'm feeling it.
Yeah, you know?
I better
that
get
South
better.
Texas, that South Texas accordion, you know?
Yes.
Yeah, that Flaco Jimenez sound, yeah.
So, all right, we met last not this past September, but the year before.
Yes.
Right, so I learned that song. And then
You
at the
did
beginning-
learn it?
Well, I listened to it a lot, so
Okay.
I know the song.
Okay.
And Debbie said it's an amazing song with beautiful lyrics, and I concur. And Claudia loves that song.
Thank you, Debbie. Thank you, Claudia. Hi, Cecilia.
And so my experience of Texas prior to the beginning of this year was really just like that conference and one other thing I had played at. So back in February, my husband and my 1-year-old and I drove from Massachusetts to New Mexico and back and performed in the middle. And to appreciate the vastness of Texas, I think where you need to be is in the middle of the desert with a husband who has an abscessed tooth and desperately trying to find something healthy to eat.
Oh my gosh.
Because all those three things happened at once. And
Yes.
what we learned is like you're hours away from help and there's nothing healthy to eat. And if you go to that Dairy Queen that's near all the oil drilly thingies and you
Yes.
ask for a salad, they're going to laugh at you and just give you sandwich lettuce. And so that,
true.
but that whole time I was laughing and I was singing, nothing is bigger than Texas.
That is a great story. I totally get it about the food. Oh my gosh. Yeah, we would drive out to New Mexico because we had a place out there that we would go to, and my gosh, the bathrooms and the food. Oh gosh, it was terrible. It was 15 hours, you know? There was
Yeah.
nothing. There was nothing.
And I'm guessing that this is between New Mexico and Texas where we were, and it was just, are they oil derricks? Is that what they're called?
Yeah, the pump jacks. Yeah.
Yes. Yeah, and you just like you can just smell it, like
Yeah, the
it's
sulfur.
just everywhere.
Yeah, yeah.
But anyway, I was singing that song the whole time.
No, that's great. That's a great.
But I feel like I need to explore Texas more because I saw that stretch of nothingness. But then there's
Yeah.
but we were also into Dripping Springs. Have you been there?
I have not. Have you been there for the Songwriter Festival?
Yeah, I played it
Oh, you played it. How
this
cool.
past year.
Well, that's a beautiful little town. That's a really cool little town near
Yes.
Austin, right?
Yes.
Yeah,
And
Austin's
Texas
great.
is huge. There's so many different so many
gosh.
different parts.
And so many different regions, and they're all different. I mean, the southern Gulf Coast, Padre Island. You know,
I've
you've
been
got-
to Padre Island.
Yeah, it's beautiful. Yeah.
Yes, I was in high school and we did a Christian youth congress. They called it. It was in Padre
wow.
Island. Yeah.
Wow. Wow. And you got to go to Big Bend. You've got to go to Marfa, Terlingua, which I mentioned in the song. The Big Bend Park is just amazing. Yeah, it's a really special place.
Well, I guess what will just have to happen is that my dream will come true and we'll be able to do a little mini tour together and I'll accompany you on the accordion and I'll see those places.
And nothing's bigger than Texas tour.
Yes.
Sounds good.
Yes. And folks, I have a Nothing is Bigger Than Texas playlist on Spotify too.
Dude.
Because I love that song. Anyway, I could just keep talking forever. So here's a question for you philosophically. You know, we do these songwriter rounds, and I always feel like, okay, this artist is playing a song that's upbeat. So then I try to prepare my next song to pair well with the previous song.
Oh, that's a good thought. Yeah.
But Jonathan Bird, do you know Jonathan Bird?
Yes. Oh, yeah.
He said that he does not do that. He just does whatever he feels like.
Yeah.
Where do you stand in this?
Where do I stand in this great debate that's been
Yes.
going on?
Hi, Denise.
No, I think that you can do it either way, which is a very diplomatic answer, but I've done it both ways, and I really do enjoy that kind of magical. I think tonight it's kind of maybe a little bit shorter. I kind of had some things pre-planned, to play because of the year that we're in, and you'll see as based on the choices that I make. But I do really enjoy that, creating the narrative arc as it's happening. Yes. And I've had people come up after a show and say, do you guys do that all the time? Every time you play together? And like, we've never played together. And they're like, what? You guys should take that on the road. It's amazing. And it's that being in the moment and everything flowing together and the stories tying into together. I play a song about that mentions whiskey, and you have a song that mentions whiskey or that's based on whiskey, and and then you just go and see where it takes you. And it's really, really, it's creative. It's a creative moment.
It is, and it's so fun because I think, oftentimes we'll go up on stage with a set list, and it's just, if it's just you on the stage, it's going to be what's on that paper for the most part, but
Right.
I like the unpredictability of
Yes.
that.
Yeah.
So I had talked to Jonathan Bird about that because I was in a round with him, and what he did before me was erotic poetry.
Oh, wow. Well, that,
And so-
I don't know that I would have anything to follow that with.
Well, no, you don't. And not only that, but you have to sit in front of the audience and be reacting to this. And his poetry is.
Wow. I had no idea.
And so I'm sitting there I don't know. Should I seem really excited about this, or should I not? I don't know. Oh my gosh. And I did not know how the hell to follow it either.
Well, sounds like you survived, so that's good.
By the skin of my teeth, Jordi. All that because when I was hoping that you would play that song tonight, I was thinking about what I could follow that song with.
Oh,
and so,
good.
I mean, there are a lot of things that are bigger than Massachusetts. But I live in a really small town. Now, I grew up in the hometown of Gina Davis, and I thought it was a small town with a population of 20,000. I moved to the town next door, and the population is 2,000.
Is that Wareham?
So that's where I'm from, is Wareham, yes.
Yes.
Which I think is technically a city, like you could call it. But I really thought it was a small town. But no, now I actually live in a small town. And what I discovered this year, my father-in-law ran for selectman of the town, and I helped him. And small town politics is something I never feel a need to participate in ever again.
Wow. Wow.
Because as dark as it can get on the big national stage, it gets personal in small town.
Oh my gosh.
That's my experience. So
That's fascinating.
Or it feels personal because you know everybody.
Yeah.
You know everybody, and so that if you know they're not going to vote for you, it can it's tough.
Yeah.
And so what I walked away from that with was this idea of in a small town, everybody knows your business. You can't really get away with anything. And for me, it's like a love-hate. So this is my small town response to big Texas.
Oh, this is good. I'm excited. Okay, take it away.
And everybody, you watch my show every week, and I always forget to put my links and stuff up. But just a side note to say that if you're here for Jordi or if you're here for me, you got to go check out the other artists' page and like it because it means the world to us. By the sea, I do one tiny little thing, and everybody knows me. So I smile at the maid at the diner. I smile at the lady downtown. I do one tiny little thing, and word gets around. I know, that's just the way it goes. I know. Sometimes I go drinking. I never go too far. No, I'm not thinking when I get back in my car. I breathe in deep and lustful. I breathe in 'cause it's good. I breathe in 'cause it's legal, and I think everybody should. I know, that's just the way it goes. I know, whether you're up or down, word gets around, word gets around. realized that I must have been listening to your song before I wrote that. It's got a kind of a similar strummy vibe. And
It does. It does. And I love some of the lyrics. I love that line about I breathe in
deep and lustful.
use the word lustful. Yes. And good and everybody should,
Yeah.
you know? Right? Oh, I
Yes.
love that. That's really
Thank
great.
you.
It's really great. I love the melody. You have very like a very clear, effective it communicates very well the way that you write in that song.
Thank you. Thank you. So being clear when I sing my own songs, I don't know if this is what you meant, but when I first started writing, I was 12 or 13 and obsessed with Tori Amos. And if any of you have ever listened to Tori Amos, it can be really, really hard to understand what in the heck she's saying.
Right.
And so I think it was a combination of I thought that's what you were supposed to do, was mumble your words.
Right.
And then I wasn't very confident in my lyrics, and so I started this mumbling tick, I guess, which has taken me a very long time to undo.
Yeah, no, but that's you've done marvelously.
Thank you.
You know, the Kerrville Folk Festival was one of the things one of the communities that really helped me learn how to move from a guy that fronted a rock band and then wrote kind of like 80s and 90s inspired rock music, Americana music with lyrics that were similar, that were, you know, somewhat vague and interesting, but didn't really tell a story. Maybe they showed a story more, you know?
Yeah.
And listening to all these amazing songwriters in Kerrville, not just the ones that were recognized, but the ones in the campfires that were, you know, had never really performed many gigs before. Amazing. A totally different craft, you know?
It is, and I really like how you articulated that, because that's something that I think I've struggled with too, because my dad, when I was younger, always told me that I needed to be a blues singer or a rock singer in order for people to like me, and that then I could do whatever I wanted. So I always had this thing in my head that I needed to be writing these heavy rock songs, and that's what they were. It was more about like the sounds. It wasn't about a
The
story.
groove, yeah.
Yeah, it was the groove.
Right.
And that's what he used to tell me. He's like, you got to get those toes tapping. And if people aren't tapping their toes at your shows, they don't like you. You know, so it's like always this thing in my head.
Yes. Yeah.
Oh, Colleen Hughes agrees with my assessment of living in Wareham.
Oh, that's great.
Well, you know, it's funny because Wareham it's a big town population-wise, but it really does feel like a small town, at least to me. And maybe that's because my family has been there since 16, whatever it is.
Oh, wow. So you just know so many people
And I was a tour
That's a
guide
nice
at the local museum.
Oh my
So I'm
gosh.
steeped in Wareham history.
But that's really nice. I think that's really nice. It just feels like home.
Yes, it absolutely does. It absolutely does.
Just no politics.
No. Okay, folks. So I mentioned earlier when we first started that just before we began our show, I received a text from my niece requesting me to select a winner in their gingerbread house contest. And so I don't know who made which, but it's Sadie and her 3 brothers, and they made these gingerbread houses. So I don't even know how I'm going to do this. I guess I'm just going to show you the houses and I'll number them.
Okay.
So here's number 1. Whoa. Now we can discuss. What I like about this one is the staircase. You don't often see a gingerbread house with a staircase.
That's really, I mean, that to me, that's really makes my imagination go wild. That's really cool. It feels like it's kind of almost floating in the air. It's really,
it does.
kinda
Kind of an
unique.
optical illusion.
yeah, I love that.
So that's number 1, the staircase gingerbread house.
That's a great job.
Okay. Number 2 has a much different shape.
Yes.
I feel like I might camp in it.
Yes, and it feels like it would be really good in places where it snows a lot, because the snow would just like go right off the roof.
Yes.
Very
Yes.
safe.
And I like the little walkway.
Yeah.
As somebody who slips all the time, I'm imagining this in a cold setting. That looks like a nice
Safe,
steady
cobblestoned. Yeah.
walk. Yes. Yes. So their number 2 is the triangle one. Number 3. This one has a person, which
Yes.
is nice because we're also isolated right now.
Yes, and you know what strikes me is that the actual house and the door look like a person too. The windows and the door.
Yes, they do. They do. With like a, what is that called when a man has the triangle in the front of his hair?
Oh,
Do you know, like,
I know what you're talking about. Yeah,
is
yeah,
there a name
exactly.
for that, everybody? That, yeah. So house number 3 is the person house.
Person house.
And the last one, this looks like a cozy cottage.
Very. I like the landscaping in the front.
I do too. I'm a big gardener. Yeah. So there,
The garden house.
yes, and is there some sort of decoration on the top there?
Looks like a maybe like a shield, a family shield or family crest.
Yes, I'm going to interpret it as a family crest. I like that.
Widow's Peak.
Widow's Peak.
That's from William. Thank you, William.
Thank you.
William's been drinking whiskey, and he remembered Widow's Peak. So keep drinking, William. It
I'm
does you good.
drinking. So I had never had eggnog with alcohol in it before. And last night I tried some with rum, which is what I think you're traditionally supposed to do. And what I learned is that I don't like rum. So I have a vodka nog tonight.
Vodka nog. Wow, that is quite a mug there.
I'm really in the Christmas spirit. This is from a movie.
Is that?
Can anyone identify what movie this mug comes from? You'll win some sort of a prize. More of like us recognizing that you won prize.
Yes.
Does anyone know?
So I'm having the rum that you extracted from the eggnog. This is pure extracted eggnog rum right here.
That's
Which
just
is my favorite. It's my favorite liquor. Is rum.
Just rum.
Just
Now,
rum.
what the rum
It's
that
sipping rum. It's sipping rum. It's like really nice, like a whiskey type of thing,
I've also never had whiskey.
but not as hardcore as whiskey.
William is on it tonight with the Widow's Peak and the Christmas Vacation. William, you won the prize. Jim Carroll got it too, but William was just there first. Okay, so Jordi's going to take the next song, but in the meantime, I really desperately need you all to decide which of those gingerbread houses is our winner.
Okay, let's get some votes in.
So again, what we have is the staircase house, which is number 1, the triangle house with the cool walkway, the people house, which looks like a friendly place with the Widow's Peak, and then the gardening house with the family crest. Okay, very important. Jordi, take it away.
All good choices. Okay, so we were talking about a small town song. This is a big town song. It's the closest to a Boston song that I have. It's set in New York City, and it's about meeting somebody among the millions of people that are out out and about town, in the subways and on the streets. This is called "Could Have Been Us." Monday morning rush on the uptown line. Bodies press and sway. The train car rumbles and whines. Tired of staring at the phone, I looked up. I saw lipstick on the lid of a coffee cup. Cheekbone scar, a lotus tattoo were clues to solve the mystery of you. At Columbus Circle, you turned to get off. I couldn't help wondering if it could have been us. Could have been us. Later that year, in the neighborhood store. I saw you checking out, just one register over. I noticed the tomatoes, the nectarines, your skin, and that guy that you were with, who was more than just a friend. The way you looked into his eyes was like morphine for pain. The brush of your fingers like a warm summer rain. The two of you fit like a hand in a glove. I couldn't help wondering if it could have been us. Could have been us. Grown-ups aren't supposed to be lost in childish reverie, but baby daydreams teach us what we really need. We got a little snow. I took Jack out for a walk. I saw you standing on a front stoop, arms wrapped around the box. You lugged it down the stairs to the back of a van. Well, it was clear to me that Brooklyn was no longer in your plan. A voice came from the front seat. Okay, Jessica, let's drive. You smiled as you passed me on the passenger side. I mustered, have a good one. The engine started up. I couldn't help wondering if it could have been us. I can't help wondering if it could have been us. Could have been us.
That was beautiful.
Thank you.
There's some great spots for harmony on there too.
Yes, there are.
Is that available to
Yes, it is. It's available on Spotify, on Amazon, on Apple Music, all those places, Deezer, all kinds of places I've never been to.
Have you ever used it? I was going to
Never
ask
used
you.
it,
So when
never used it.
So for people watching who don't make music, when you release an album or a single, you can select to like where it will be available to stream
Yes,
and whether or not it can be on free sites or just paid ones. And Deezer always pops up, and I'm always like, "What is Deezer? Does
What
anyone
is
use
Deezer? Does anybody use Deezer out there? I don't
Maybe
know.
maybe it's maybe people in another country use Deezer more than we
Yeah.
do.
By the
So I
way,
feel like-
speaking of another country, I just want to give a shout out to Clemente and his wife who are watching from Barcelona, Spain, right now.
Hello.
Hola Clemente, how are you?
I was going to ask you, Jordi, if you were bilingual. Of course you are.
Yeah, so my father's from Spain, my mother's Cuban, and my name Jordi is actually Jorge or George in Catalan, a language that's spoken in Barcelona, where Clemente's from. So
Not
that's where
Spanish.
part of my family. It's It's within the country of Spain, but it's a region called Catalonia. So yeah, it's not Spanish.
Sounds so beautiful.
It's Catalan, yeah. So yeah, well, yeah, it's that's where the name comes from, Barcelona. So
I love that. So when I think of your name, there's a very old, there's a lot of old English folk songs, and one of them's called Jordi, but it's
Yes.
Jordi with the G.
yes,
So not
and
the same.
and I learned that the Jordis are from Newcastle. It's like a group of, it's like an ethnic group within Britain or England. The Jordis are the people from Newcastle, so
I didn't
close
know
to
that.
Scotland. Yeah, GEO. Yeah.
So I don't know if this is, I was talking last week to another artist about accents, and it just like whether or not we ever randomly just popped into accents, and we were joking about how like fun it is to pretend to have one, and like what an American thing that is, we were thinking. Because so growing up, all I wanted to be was bilingual. Like I just wanted to be bilingual.
Oh,
And
cool.
so in high school, I would just like think in French. I was obsessed with French, and then once I figured out how to do an English accent, it was like could not stop me. And I remember the first time, like I had it down, and some people have already heard this story before, but like I went to the gas station, little 17-year-old me, and I said, "I'll have $5 of petrol, please." And the attendant thought that I was British, and he goes, "I love your accent." And then he paid for my gas, and then I
Oh
went
my
home,
gosh.
and I was like, "Mom, if I pretend to be foreign, I can get stuff." Like,
I just think the British just have like an advantage over everybody else. They just sound like they have 20 IQ points more than everybody else, and they're 20 times, well, they're not 20 times, 10% sexier, you know. So they got it all for that
But
accent.
I don't know that it's just for me anyway. It's just accents. There's
In
But
general.
is that
Oh,
like
I see.
Well, my question is that just an American thing? Like we have people watching from other countries. Is that just like a?
Scott speaks Wookiee,
That's my husband.
but it's Northern Wookiee. Yeah.
He's a pip. I'm sure you'll meet him later because he
That's
has
funny.
a variety of holiday suits that he can wear.
That's great.
So anyway, you are bilingual.
Yes.
Spanish.
Spanish and English.
Okay. And do you ever randomly pop into other accents?
I do like to do that, but I have to be inspired, like in the moment. But I found I like to do them, but then I feel a little bit sensitive about like being offensive to people. You know, you know what I
Yes.
mean? Just like
I sure do.
I don't want to be offensive, but it's just some accents are just so great. They're so fun, you know.
I know. And you know what's a really difficult accent to do is Scottish.
That's a tough one.
Because it's a brogue, right? It's
Yeah.
very, very difficult.
I think if I was like around it for a while and maybe had a couple of drinks, I think it would flow a lot more naturally. Like I couldn't do it now on command.
Right.
But I think that's just such a great gift to be able to imitate, do impressions. I love that. I think that's so cool.
Oh, me too. 100%. And it's true, you have to be like, you can't overthink it.
You can't
You just have
overthink
to
it.
become the accent. That's what I used to do when I practiced French. I would just think that I was French.
Yes. And
And-
just like exaggerate. You almost have to
Yes.
exaggerate. Yeah.
Yes, and like, don't have a care in the world about whether or not you're correct.
French is a perfect language for that.
I love French. Maybe I'll do my French Christmas Carol tonight. So looks like we don't have a clear winner yet for this gingerbread contest.
Is that right?
We have 2 votes. Well, maybe we do. Looks like number 3, house number 3 got 2 votes. House number 4 has 1, and house number 1 has 1, and house number 2 has 1. So we'll
Okay.
see if we get a few more votes. I'll pop them up one more time. And otherwise, it looks like number 3 might be our winner. So here is house number 1, number 2, number 3, and number 4. Tell us your favorite. This is me stalling because I don't know what to play.
Oh,
Well, no, I was thinking to myself, I loved that song and the imagery. You said it was in New York, and I was picturing I was picturing a Christmassy New York, but
yeah, it's kind of Christmassy actually now that I think about it.
and that wondering about like what could have been. So I do have a song that kind of speaks to the what could have been. Because do you ever go through old photo albums like years and years ago and you think to yourself, like, what if I had made all these different life choices? Like, what
Oh,
would
yeah.
things be? And so that's what this
When you get to my age, you start thinking about that a lot more.
35. That is my guess.
Thank you. Very nice. Let's leave it there.
Oh, look, we have got another. We're gonna have to do math later because we're getting
Oh my
more
gosh,
votes in here.
we got a 1. We got 2 votes for 1 and
Are you
1
good
for
at
4.
math? Because I am not.
I'm good at math. You want me to tally while you're singing? I'll listen to your song and tally. How about
Deal.
that?
Deal.
Okay. Got a little yellow sticky here.
Okay, so here is. I popped this up. Okay. So I actually tomorrow I'm working on a new album. Tomorrow I'm going in the studio to do the final vocals. It's the last stage of recording, so it's a good chance for me to practice this one. Yeah, I wrote this after looking through old high school photo albums and just thinking about where we all wound up, and I think we all wound up in places we wouldn't have imagined. I remember how it used to be. Across the room I'd hide behind a magazine. I think you told me that we'd always be. Then you showed me how a man could leave. I remember that you gave it all. I remember feeling like I was falling. What did she have that I didn't get? But what you said I'll never forget. I wanna kiss your love, I wanna give it up. Wanna know what it's like to look into your eyes. I wanna give it up, I wanna kiss your love. Come on, let's be a little less civilized. Drove your Jetta to the harbor. It was a little bit harder to draw a line between a friend and me. And I would think God let this be. I wanna kiss your love, I wanna give it up. Wanna know what it's like to look into your eyes. I wanna give it up, I wanna kiss your love. Come on, let's be a little less civilized. And I'm a little like Alice, following photographs down a one-way track. I'm a little like Alice, everything's beautiful, and then I go back. Sometimes I go back. I remember how it used to be. Lady in red and we were dancing back when we could be anything. If we could see us now, would we be laughing? I wanna give it up, I wanna kiss your love. Wanna know what it's like to look into your eyes. I wanna kiss your love, I wanna give it up. Come on, let's be a little less civilized. A little less civilized.
Oh yeah.
Thank you.
I
I'm
like that.
so glad because that's one of those songs that you write. Maybe you don't, but I write these songs and I think I can never perform that. That's kind, like, because it's a little different than the other.
Well, I was just thinking as you were. I was thinking, it's beautiful. I love the piano, and I love the edge to your voice in that, and the passion that comes,
Thank
comes
you.
out in that song. That's really, really good. And I was thinking, man, I need to write more, passionate love songs. But I've been married for a long time, and that type of passion changes, after as long as Carmen and I have been married, which is a great thing. And I have to say, we're so much more in love than we ever were. But it's not that kind of,
It's different.
It's different and it's better.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Well, so we've been married for 3 years. Yes, 3. I usually consult the picture on the wall that has the date on it. We've been married for 3 years, and it is we're still, would we still technically be called newlyweds? What's the cutoff for that? I think
That's a good question.
But
Ask
this
the
change,
audience.
and it's interesting how you change as people and together, and
Yes.
it's interesting.
So just imagine, in the case of Carmen and I, it's 29 years. So we've been together longer than we've been apart, you know?
Yeah,
Yeah. So,
that's really cool.
yeah, that's... You're probably
been
doing
good
math in
math.
your head. You're like,
Now, all right. So my husband's picking on me here, saying that I did a good job calculating how many years we've been married.
math is
But
not
to
your
be
thing.
fair, well, see, at least I remember the date.
Uh-huh. Scott, take that.
Boom! Do you know my husband's favorite thing is winning, whether it be a game or an argument. So I am sure this is not over. My husband said, you guys have been together slightly longer than the age difference between my husband and
That's hilarious.
He brings that up to make me feel good. Did we get a clear winner on the gingerbread house contest?
Oh, yes. Well, there have not been any votes since I tallied.
Was
and
Sam
I came
HM
up,
the last one?
Yeah. So I came up with 1 vote for house number 2, 2 votes for house number 3, 2 for house number 4, and 3 votes for house number 1.
House
So-
number 1 is the winner.
Yeah. So there you go.
House
Congratulations.
number 1. I don't know who made it. Maybe we'll find out.
They were
Maybe
all great. So
House
that
number.
was a tough competition.
See, I am not brave enough with my artwork to put it into a contest.
Well, that's not true.
Well, okay.
You do that with
my,
your songs.
Which is stressful with my visual art. My visual art should never enter any sort of competition. And Dylan won.
Congratulations, Dylan.
And Ken, I'm really glad to hear that. So, I don't know, everyone can't see Ken's comment, but he just said that the conversation is lively and he's not sitting there thinking, just play a song.
Oh, well, that's nice, because you do get those people that are like, shut up and play a song.
Well, in kind of structuring this, I've been doing it since September 14th. I always wonder, like, should it be more singing or more talking? But I think, at least because I have felt relatively isolated, I like talking to people and learning
Yes.
about them. And I
Yeah.
feel like, maybe other people disagree, I feel like it's just neat to see people.
Yeah, we're providing the songs, but also kind of the people behind the songs and the life of the songwriter this year, and you know what it's like to be a songwriter in 2020. It's quite different.
Oh, it is. Are you working on any new musical projects?
Well, I have been writing a ton. I'm in a songwriting group, and we've been together for 3.5 years. And I personally have written, just in that group, at least 40 songs. Many of them were on the latest record, the 2019 record. And I've got, for the first time in my life, I've got a backlog of songs that could be on the record. And now I have to like pick. And so that's a really interesting and, I guess, fortunate position to be in, you know?
I do, because you might think this is funny, and I don't want to interrupt your story.
No problem.
I have a propensity of talking too much. But back in the beginning of this pandemic, my mindset, like many other artists, was, okay, well, if I can't perform, let me just work on new music then.
Yes.
And I reached out to my producer, and I said, I'm going to do a 5-song EP. And he said, okay. And I said, it's going to sound really stripped down, kind of like the last Laurie McKenna record. And then I kept writing, Jordi, and now it's like... Every time I go in, we had the 12 songs picked out, and every time I go in, I'm like, can we add this one? And also, can we add more electric drums? It's not anything like what I had planned. And it's so hard because you write a song that you think is, oh my God, this is great.
Right.
And you just want to add it in.
And you want to add it in. I know. It's hard. It's hard to have that distance when picking songs for a record. So hopefully that's where a producer comes in and helps. But I'm excited about your project. That's so fun.
Oh, me too. Me too.
I'm in between like dreading making a record and knowing that I need to make a record. So I'm on more on the side of I'm going to make a record to release in 2022. So I've got to get to work because there's a lot to be done.
But you've been doing work, obviously. I want to
Yeah.
talk more about the songwriting group after your next two.
Got a lot of songs. So this is a song that I wrote this year, it's I don't know if it's a song that will be on a record, but it's certainly a song that I was feeling when I wrote it back in April, back when this whole pandemic started. And my wife was working outside of the home. She was an essential worker. She is an essential worker, and I was staying home, and we were fearful. I was concerned about the virus, and so we made a decision to separate inside our own home and live in different parts of the house and keep a distance from each other. And we did that for about 2 months, and it was very difficult, and this is the song that came out of that. It's called "Separate in Our Home." Separate in our home, weeks without a kiss, lines we shouldn't cross. How did it come to this? You needed on the front lines. I'm so proud of you. Perhaps this too shall pass. I'm counting on the truth that love will find a way. By now you think I'd know. There's nothing should keep us separate in our home. My hands are cracked from washing off the germs you might drag in. An accidental brush might be enough to do us in. On bad days when I push your buttons, you won't take the bait. You've always been the brave one. You're showing me again that love will find a way. By now you think I'd know. There's nothing should keep us separate in our home. Well, they say it's getting really bad in New York and in Spain. I should turn off the news, but it sucks me in again. When I can't take it anymore, I go out for a walk. Like an early Sunday, the traffic jams are gone. The air is clean, my neighbors wave, the sky ultramarine. I recognize the chorus that the birds sing from the trees, that love will find a way. By now you think I know. There's nothing should keep us separate in our home. There's nothing should keep us separate in our homes.
Absolutely
Thank
beautiful.
you.
And I have a hard time imagining how difficult that must have been. I know one other couple near me, the husband is an ER physician, and so they did a similar thing. I think he lived on their boat for months and months and months.
Tough. And I really was thinking about, our own situation, but then I realized that friends of ours, she was an emergency room nurse, or our neighbors across the street, both are ER doctors, just all these families that had to adapt to a very scary situation, because now we're kind of like accustomed, if you can say that word, but we've adapted to it. But back then it was just like, I don't know if like I touch her, or if I don't wash my hands properly and I touch my nose or something, if I'm gonna die, it was that kind of stuff that's going through your head. Yeah. So it was hard, but we found a way to come back together, and it's much better now. So that's good.
So for me, I was thinking of a similar thing, because on a good day, in a good year, I'm super germophobic. But my mom, I think we talked about this before the show, not during. My mom is 78 and works full time in a nursing home. And so same thing, like even when we did outdoor visits, I would think, oh my gosh, did I breathe too close to her? Or,
Right.
It's just, it's so scary, and all those little little tiny interactions we took for granted before.
Yeah. And the uncertainty of it all,
Yeah. So it's so scary. So I texted my husband, because I have a good song to complement that one. I just don't remember the words. And so at some point, maybe someone will bring my notebook down and I can share it, because I wrote it a year ago when my husband had been gone for 2 months. But all the things that I was experiencing then are kind of similar to what it's been like now, like the monotony of the day is what gets you through.
Yes. Yeah.
Like my
Finding
vacuuming
those routines.
routine.
Yes. Yeah. That has been helpful, I think, just to find a new rhythm,
Yes,
Yeah.
absolutely. And I really want to sing a love song now. I'm going to go for it, because there's still time that if I screw this up, I can redeem myself later. Do you do that too? Like put the iffy songs toward the beginning of the set, or like in the middle, so you can redeem yourself? Oh
gosh. Yeah, probably. Probably subconsciously I do that, yes. Okay. Do we have a visitor?
I do. It's a very strange Wookiee reindeer.
Oh my gosh. Hi. Hello, everybody.
It's a Chewbacca costume with a Rudolph nose, so we call him Chewdolph. Careful you don't knock over my moose mug there, Chewdolph.
Hi.
This is my life. Hi.
This has been a really interesting show. We've had costumes, we've had gingerbread houses, we've talked about songwriting. This has been, we've covered a lot of territory.
We have, and don't forget Jonathan Bird's erotic poetry. We went.
Oh my
there
gosh!
too.
And Jim Carroll, who's just like a super music fan, suggested that I was going to come out with an erotic poetry book next year. Which, anything is possible when you've been sequestered as long as we have.
And that was what I was going to ask you. Did the distance make the heart grow fonder?
Yes, definitely. Definitely made the heart grow fonder. But still, it was tough, it made the heart grow fonder for sure. I'm pretty happy. We're pretty happy now, so.
That was similar to us, though. When my husband had been gone for those months, when he came home, it was the best day ever. And like I knew I loved him, and I knew I loved having him here, but I didn't know how much until he was gone for so long.
Yeah.
I haven't played this song in a very, very long time.
Perfect.
So this is really risky. I have to figure out what key I'm in. I'll try it in this one.
Well, it's going to be fresh, so that's
it's
good.
It's going to be fresh. And if I forget a part, I'll just make it up as I go. It'll be really fresh.
I think it's going to be great. Looking forward to it.
Okay. And just throwing it out there, guys, if you've got the means, throwing tips the way of artists is really a big deal, because this is our only source of income. A good friend of mine at the beginning of the pandemic said, okay, I want to help you with your business. How do you make money? And I giggled, because who knows anymore? But if you get the means, you can tip us or just like our Facebook pages is a really helpful thing too. Okay, enough talking, Grace.
Slow, pour my coffee, the day can begin. The day can begin. I vacuum up the messes where all our traffic passes. I'll do it again. I'll do it again. But something doesn't flow. So lonely. Eyes bright, head to the gym, moving it to get slim. I'll do it again. I'll do it again. Find nourishment that tastes good, and all I think is I should call up a friend. But you're busy again, and nothing feels quite right if you're not here tonight. Gone long, it feels so long, and you told me not to write another sad, sad song. Sunsets, that's when I know these days are moving too slow, too slow. I fix a strong martini, the kind you always make me. It isn't as good. Don't know if I should. Don't want a new day to start. Distance breaks my heart.
Beautiful. Now I can relate to that one for sure.
Well, after a certain
Yeah,
point, you
that's
just go
great.
through the motions of things. Like the vacuum. The
absolutely.
vacuuming is really what got me through the beginning.
The house was
Gave me
super
purpose.
clean.
The whole house wasn't clean, but it was vacuumed. That's my favorite chore.
Yeah, I like washing dishes, believe it or not.
By
So,
hand?
yeah, I don't mind that at all. Yeah, yeah.
That's funny. So when I was a child, I think my mother had been forced to do chores when she was little. So when I
Yeah.
was born, she wasn't going to do that to me. Not only was I not forced, I wasn't allowed to do chores.
Wow.
When I went to my grandmother's house, I got to wash the dishes. And
So it was a treat.
It was such a treat. I loved to wash the dishes. And then I blame my mother that she really stifled my dishwashing spirit.
That's okay. You turned out pretty well, so she did a lot of things right.
My
She
mother
did a
was
lot.
great.
But I love the order you know, that you take a dish, it's dirty, you clean it, and it's back again, you know. It's like I like that. It's so simple, you know. It's meditative.
Yes. I think
Yeah.
it's a similar thing for me with making the bed too. Like I need it to be nice, and maybe it's not the same thing. Maybe this is me being OCD. But I need the bed to be made before I can begin the day.
My wife Carmen is the same. When that's a big deal for her, and she'll occasionally go out of town, and so nobody made the bed. The kids and Dad, back when the kids were living with us, would not make the bed. But then the day that she arrived, we would all make the bed, and she was happy.
Okay, one more philosophical question about bed making and being married. This is not going where you think it is. So I need the corners tucked in. Like, I need that sheet tucked in. My husband needs it loose. And those two things don't complement each other well, because if one side is untucked, the other side will become untucked. This is our big marital strife.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
Does that come up for other people? I wonder. Like, it's it sounds like a little thing, but it is not.
Well, I think there are things like that, for sure. Like in our marriage, one thing that you learn is just to let a lot of things go, right? So my wife makes the bed a certain way. When I make it, it's wrong. So she gets to make the bed, which is great. And I feel like I win too. So, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, okay, you don't want me to do that? That's fine, no problem. I'll let you do it because you do it so much better than I do, But one of my pet peeves is like running out of stuff, like something that you use all the time. It's like, before you use the last one, order another one, right? That type of thing. So that's kind of my contribution to the marriage, and it's gotten a lot better.
That's an important one. I'm a stalker-upper.
Are you?
Yes,
Good.
I like to have a
Well,
good...
so is Carmen. But that's not the issue. The issue is not how much stock you have. The issue is not running out eventually.
Yes, okay.
Of
So
something essential.
as a person who 3 years ago went from being a single living with her cats person to a house with 3 teenagers and a husband, I appreciate that, because before I knew what food I had and it was there when I wanted it.
Right.
And
Then there's like another invisible force in your
Yes.
private space.
There is. And
Right.
all I ask for is an alarm, like, hey, there's 1 serving left of this bread.
But we are so good now. We're so good at just like getting around each other's weaknesses,
Yeah.
that it just seems like so normal and so natural, and it feels perfectly harmonious.
So at some point, there will be harmony regarding the sheet tucking. That's the solace I'm going to take from this.
I guarantee
Is
it.
that eventually he's going to like having the sheet tucked in.
Well, it might take a while to get there based on that attitude that you're showing.
Anyway, I'm just waiting for him to chime in. What do you have for us?
I'm feeling like a love song, and this has been a special song for me. I wrote this song with Terry Klein and a gentleman named Todd Withers, and we wrote it at the Kerrville Folk Festival in 2017. It's a song. It's a song. Maybe I can imagine that this is how Grace and Scott would have met if they met in Texas. It's called Between the Sun and the Moon. A perfect afternoon in May, my best friend's wedding day, outside a clapboard chapel built in 1898. I saw you standing all alone on the limestone gravel road. In your bridesmaid dress, you were playing with your hair. The full moon on the rise, the sun sinking in the sky. We were standing between the sun and the moon. You, me, the sun and the moon. Rings rings and vows exchanged, the band began to play. You sat at a table, pulled the label off a bottle of beer. You finally caught my glance. I decided to take a chance. You took my hand and we danced to the maiden's prayer. The full moon on the rise, the sun sinking in the sky. We were dancing between the sun and the moon. You, me, the sun and the moon. The sun and the moon. The sun and the moon. Across the floor, step by step, dusk to dawn, breath to breath, I wished we could stay right there. Confetti on the floor, I walked you to your car. You kissed me on the cheek beneath the stars. All this time gone by, I think of you sometimes, and I wonder to myself where you are. When the full moon's on the rise, the sun sinking in the sky, are you standing between the sun and the moon? We were standing between the sun and the moon. You, me, the sun and the moon.
So beautiful. I was playing the piano.
Oh, that's great.
Does that song have piano in it? Do you have a
I
recording
do.
of it?
It's on the same record as it's on the Free and Fine record, as the Nothing's Bigger Than Texas song. So it's on the same record. It's the first track. So check it out. It's really pretty.
I will. So this is actually a really good segue because not only do I have a Nothing Is Bigger Than Texas playlist, but I have a Virtual World Tour Spotify playlist with all of the artists that I have every Monday and all the songs that they've played that are available there. It's funny. I posted about it the other day, and someone said, "Wouldn't it be better to not promote Spotify because they pay so little?" And so to answer that question, it would be better if they paid a full penny, but it's
Yes.
I feel like, are you getting the sense that, I mean, that's kind of the way the business is heading, right? Is streaming and
I don't think they're really going to listen to us. I think there are some. I know ASCAP, the performance rights organization that I'm involved with, has been fighting it. BMI too, and apparently we got better rates. It really is. It really is sad, how little we get for some. A record can cost $15,000, $20,000, $25,000 to make, and to get paid. I get checks for like $10, a month, or $10, $15 every other month. How are you possibly going to pay for a record that way? So, somebody's keeping that money, but it's not us.
yeah.
But it's awfully convenient. It's a wonderful service, and as a consumer, I can understand, and I use it. I'll admit it. So, what are you going to do? I don't know.
Yeah, it's just, I feel like it's just finding that magic way to get onto somebody's bigger playlist you know, and so the more people
Yeah.
like you,
Yeah.
the easier that is, the more followers you have on there. And
Yes, so it does help to, follow Grace's playlist and, listen to those songs, add them, follow us on Spotify, and that'll help. One day, hopefully, we'll release a record and a playlist will pick it up. And all of a sudden you can have, instead of, 1,000 plays on your song that you released a year ago, you have, 50,000 or 100,000 plays. And that
Yeah.
builds on itself. So it does make a difference. So thank you guys for
yeah,
following us on Spotify.
absolutely.
If that's
And-
your chosen method of delivery. So
Yes. And I think my feeling is that nothing is bigger than Texas. Is that the parenthetical title?
that's the Grace title.
That's the great title. That might be number 1 in the playlist tomorrow. Remains to be seen, but
Well,
that's
thank
my
you.
forecast.
Thank you.
And Sue loves that song.
Thanks, Sue. Thanks, Maria, for tuning in from New York. Sue's a super fan. We love her. If a folk singer won the lottery, what would he or she do with the money? Tour until the money runs out. Yeah. Yeah, we
Or make one record.
yeah. We love this. We love doing this, but it does help to make records. It helps to have some money coming in because it's expensive, and the records are beautiful, and it's the way to go. It's still the way to do it.
Yeah.
So we
I
want to keep
concur.
making them if you guys will allow us to. So
So follow the playlist. Okay, so that was a romantic and beautiful song with some lovely outdoors imagery. And I wanted to give a shout out to Terry Klein too, because he wrote a song about Cape Cod.
Oh, so good.
What is it? It's called Sagamore Bridge.
So
it's
good.
such a great song. If anybody is watching from my neck of the woods, I'm gonna put that on the playlist tomorrow too, if it's available, because I really love that song too.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so my song with outdoorsy imagery, I was thinking about when my husband and I first started spending time together. I was purging myself. My mother saved everything I ever owned in my whole life. And I was about to move and I needed to purge. So he would come over every night and we would have bonfires. And we just burned anything and everything. But there was something really magical about those summer night bonfires,
That is cool.
because it was not only the fire part, but it's that beginning of a romance or the beginning of love when it's just like it's in the air even though you can't quite touch it yet. You're not sure, but it's brewing. And so
That's an amazing phase. That's quite a feeling,
it is. It
Yeah.
is. And so I was trying to get at that with this next song.
Okay.
Last time I played this song for you guys on here, I messed it up. And so my goal right now is to not to. Hi, Sandra. This is called Lone Star.
Something about a summer night spent talking, just talking. Something in your summer eyes I'm liking. I'm liking. I've been a lone star as long as I've been here. But you offer up a glass that I can bear. And it's a real sure thing. We're all gonna fall. I'd rather spill the cup than feel nothing at all. This lone star. Sitting by this summer fire, we're drinking, just drinking. I'd like to ask you all the things you're thinking. rather spill the cup than feel nothing at all. This lone star, this lone star. Help me, I'm burning up. I don't wanna give it up. Help me, I'm burning up for you. Something about the way you look at me, smiling. What are you hiding? 'Cause it's a real sure thing. We're all gonna fall. I'd rather spill the cup than feel nothing at all. This lone star, this lone star.
That is a killer
Thank you.
song.
Thank you.
And it's got Lone Star in the
I
title.
could have followed up the Texas song with that one.
I'm
I was not
telling you.
thinking.
There's something about you in Texas.
Yes,
You know?
honestly, I went to Swerfa
I'm telling you.
and I
Yeah.
wrote a song in a Sonic on the way home, which is going to be on the new record. And honestly, all the new songs were inspired by my trips to Texas.
I'm telling you, I could tell from the time I met you, and then the whole Nothing's Bigger Than Texas thing, and now I hear your songs. I'm like, oh my gosh, she's like another Bostonian that wants to come live in Texas, like Terry Klein.
Yes, and is Claudia Gibson an East Coast girl also? Or
Yes, she is. New York, yes.
And my husband's reminding me. Oh yeah, if my mother hadn't saved he's under exaggerating. My mother saved everything I ever got at school, Jordi. Like
amazing.
when we were going through the papers, it was a school lunch menu from 1992.
Oh my gosh. My mom's the same way though.
It's like good
Boxes
and
and
bad.
boxes and boxes and boxes. Yeah. And I'm a little bit like that. I've gotten better, but yeah, I'm a little bit. I've had that tendency in my past. Yeah.
I think my grandmother threw all my mother's stuff away, and so then she, to balance that out, saved everything. And so now I think the rest of my life is going to be going through all of the things. Like, do I need the school lunch menu? And at a certain point, you've saved it this long.
Yes. And then you're like, should I throw it away?
Because it's interesting to know what lunch was on Tuesday in 1992.
It is interesting, and it probably will be interesting to you again when you look at it 30 years from now, and then you will be gone, and somebody else will have to deal with all that stuff. But they'll listen to your song and they'll start a bonfire and it'll be great.
Have a ceremonial burning.
I think that is really symbolic, actually. Yes.
One of the things we burned was like a prom dress from 1985. It wasn't mine. I don't even know why I had it. That thing burned quick.
Wow.
Holy smokes.
Yeah, there's some chemicals in that thing.
That was a dangerous garment. Just a side note, I'm having an amazing time with you tonight.
Oh, thank you. Me too. This is fun.
So
I told you it would go by fast.
I know. My mind is absolutely blown. We're at like the 2 songs left phase. I'm
my
not
gosh.
emotionally prepared for that. What do you have up next for?
Okay, let's do a quick song so we get this show sewn up. So I've got a song that I think it's appropriate for today, as we get into the holidays. Our kids are just arriving to our home. We have 4 children, and they're all going to be here for a few days at Christmas. So we're really grateful for that. And we were victims of the 2017 massive flood in Houston. Our house got flooded, and we had to evacuate, and we ended up living in several houses of family and friends, and then in an apartment for about 7 months. And that apartment never really felt like home to my wife. And what she really wanted is a place where our kids could get together. If something ever happened to us, it would be a place where they could come together during the holidays. And that's where I am right now. That's what we have now, and I'm so grateful for that. So I noticed that my wife, in that apartment where we lived temporarily for 7 months, that she didn't hang any pictures on the wall and of the apartment because it just didn't feel like home. And so this is a song that I wrote with my friend Jackson Emmer. It's called Pictures on the Wall. Moving in, planting roots, boxes on the bed, packing peanuts, rolls of tape, here we go again. Seems like yesterday, we've done this before. We're stones that keep on rolling, life just keeps unfolding, every turn just leaves us wanting more. When do you hang pictures on the wall? When does a house become a home? In between the living and the final curtain call, when do you hang pictures on the wall? Taking steps, no regrets, breaking in that bed, room for friends and barbecues, cold beer in the fridge, hoping that we'll find sunny days ahead. I know I've been drinking, but I just get the feeling we might have a permanent address. When do you hang pictures on the wall? When does a house become a home? In between the living and the final curtain call, when do you hang pictures on the wall? We can wait until it's right, but there ain't no perfect time. Let's take a chance and settle down. It's our place, it's our town, never more to roam. When do you hang pictures on the wall? When does a house become a home? In between the living and the final curtain call, when do you hang pictures on the wall? In between the living and the final curtain call, when do you hang pictures on the wall?
That. I don't want this to turn sad. So my family, we lost our house in 2010. We stood in the driveway, watched it get auctioned away.
Oh.
It was awful. And that feeling of loss of home for me led to a series of terrible decisions. And all of them were me like searching for a home, you know, wherever that was. And the truth is that I didn't feel home again until my husband and I were together. Like he is the thing that made me feel home again.
Well, that's wonderful.
But it's just such an important feeling. I can't.
My wife was, she literally, imagine the home where you've lived for 20 years raising your kids, and it gets water up to your waist, and you never go back, and you don't know where to go. We're so fortunate. We had insurance, we had supporting, loving family, friends, but still it just like rocks your world. And like I said, for her just thinking of us, her kids especially, not having a place to come together as a family, it just felt like, you know, your kneecaps had been knocked out, you know.
Yeah, it's amazing to me, and I always felt like I was just being overly dramatic because the loss of the house felt like the loss of a family member in a lot of ways, or and even, you know, the family members that had passed before us knew that as home. You know, and so in a lot of ways it was like losing that again, you know, and it's just amazing how important these buildings can be, you know. It's
And then the amazing thing too is how wonderful it's been to, you know, create a new home and have a new community, a new neighborhood, and we still stay in touch with the old neighborhood, but that's also, you know, rewarding to realize it's not over, you know, life continues, and, you know, love never dies. It just keeps going, and it can just grow. You know, you don't lose anything, you know, that really matters, you know.
Right, exactly.
But in the moment, it's hard.
Oh, so hard. And I think, you know, I was going crazy, and I was thinking to myself, okay, if ghosts are real, my grandparents only know that I live there. How are the ghosts going to find me? Like, I was... Right.
Like,
what am I going to do? Should I leave a note?
And this, my friends, is why so many songs are written.
And I did. I wrote a song about it. my big thing, like, I was really going to show it to whoever got that house next. I took all the doors. I did. All the doors, and I wound up being able to buy my grandmother's home, which helped heal that. But I put the doors from the other house in.
Oh, that's so cool. That's
you know, it's silly me. Nobody would have wanted those doors. It was
but
not
they mean
a nice
a lot
house.
to you.
They meant a lot to me, exactly. Yeah. So my next song, my last song, has absolutely nothing to do with any of that.
That's great.
I tried to stretch for a connection, and I ain't got one. Except that the vibe we're going for in the new recording, because this is going to be on the new album, is like old school country.
Oh, beautiful.
And, you know, we were sitting there in the studio, and can you identify this musical theme? It's...
Is that, oh, it's a Western show, right?
Yeah.
Bonanza?
Yes.
Bonanza?
Yeah,
okay.
yes, Bonanza.
Yeah.
So anyway, we were playing this song, and we couldn't figure that out. It took us forever. We were like, is it Gunsmoke? What is it? And so the very end of the song, it's so silly. I don't know if it's going to stay in, but we have like little horse clip-clops.
Oh, that's great.
And a gunshot at the very
I
end.
like that.
That has nothing to do with the song. And one more time I do that. All right, this is called Free.
What the hell was I thinking of when I let you turn the key? My tongue is tied, my breath is short. I didn't let you get the best of me. I heard the tires rumble, I felt the earth shake. I knew my hands trembled. Maybe my biggest mistake is wanting to find a life not needing anyone else to be. So I'm free. It's just me, and I'm free. What the hell was I thinking of when I didn't call you back? I came up short with the words to say. What an embarrassment. I heard the bells ringing, I started to sweat. I almost picked it up. Maybe my biggest regret is wanting to find a life not needing anyone else to be. So I'm free. It's just me, and I'm free. bells ringing. God, I can't relax. Sometimes love is fleeting, sometimes it comes back. I'm wanting to find a life spent loving somebody else, but it's me, and I'm free. It's just me, and I'm free. Yeah.
Hey,
It's my
who's that back there?
dude. You're gonna say hello? Oh, hello.
Hi.
Okay, let's say goodnight to everybody.
Good night.
Say hi,
Good
Jordi.
to see you. Hello, how are you? And what's your
This is
name?
Brayton.
Hey, Brayton.
Can you play your
so
harmonica?
nice to meet you. Oh my God, she's a folk singer.
Right? I know. Say night. Can you say Merry Christmas? Say ho ho ho. Oh, my
Grace, this was so fun.
Oh, I absolutely agree. Thank you for doing this with me.
Thank you for doing this whole series. It's wonderful. I'm so honored to be amongst such great, you have had such wonderful guests, and you're such a talented, wonderful artist. So I'm just very honored to be here.
Oh, I'm totally starstruck because I sing your song all the time. And now I'm going to be singing more of them because I follow the Virtual World Tour Spotify playlist, and you guys can too. Are all the
Guys,
songs
absolutely.
you played tonight available on there?
Yes, they're all available.
Awesome. So
Oh, they're all available except for the one about the COVID, which has not been recorded yet. So,
but it will be.
yes, it will be hopefully.
Because it's a
and
great
thanks all of you for joining today. and for
Absolutely.
liking our pages and supporting our music. Thank you.
And for the suggestion that Jordi is going to write his own poetry book.
Yes, I'll talk to my wife about that tonight, see how that goes.
Have a great night, everybody. I will see you next Monday.
Thank you all. Thank you. Thanks, Grace.
You're awesome.